This week, David Cameron was given a ticking off by Germany's Angela Merkel for banging on about who he would and wouldn't have as the next European Commission President. The Trojan Horse affair about Muslim extremism in Birmingham erupted, burning 2 cabinet ministers. And Gordon Brown made a rare appearance in Westminster to enter the Scottish independence referendum campaign and cause a bit of trouble into the bargain. Eurosceptic parties made significant advances in the recent EU elections, and the Prime Minister believes that strengthens his hand in demanding reform of the Union before his promised in-out referendum in 2017. His first attempt to make the most of it has seen him launching a very vocal campaign to stop Luxembourg's federalist Jean-Claude Juncker being given a job as Commission President. The problem is, he's currently probably in a minority amongst EU leaders, and Germany's Angela Merkel is backing Juncker. However, while she seems to be open to persuasion, she has become fed up with Cameron's public utterances on the issue, which make it harder for her to quietly compromise. During a joint press conference in Sweden, she said issuing threats about withdrawing from Europe, as Cameron had done, were not a good idea, and there had been altogether too many public statements on the matter. So there. By the way, one of the possible compromise candidates is Danish Premier Helle Thorning-Schmidt, who is former Labour leader Neil Kinnock's daughter-in-law. A Kinnock ruling in Brussels, now there's a thought. Reports into claims there was a Muslim plot to take over Birmingham schools were finally published, landing the Education Secretary Michael Gove with a major headache. Ofsted inspectors did find some worrying attempts to propagate a robust Muslim culture in some schools, and claimed there was a widespread atmosphere of fear and intimidation. Reports of calls to prayer over school loudspeakers, non-Muslims being banned from trips to Saudi, nativity plays being vetted, and some teachers even having to meet inspectors in secret in supermarket car parks were all deeply worrying. But they fell far short of suggesting a coherent, organised Islamist plot. Gove, still smarting from his row with the Home Secretary over who was to blame, immediately announced he wanted British values to be taught in all schools. He also said Ofsted would be allowed to descend on schools in future without any notice. But the row also suggested something deeply amiss with the policy of urging schools to break free of local authority control and being able to teach pretty much whatever they wanted with scant oversight, which Gove hasn't addressed. The former Prime Minister faced a lunch with political journalists to tell them why Scottish independence was a bad thing, and he did it in his own inimitable style. Brown said the current campaign was too negative by always telling the Scots what they could not have if they split away. But he also said he thought it would be a good idea if David Cameron accepted First Minister Alex Salmond's challenge to meet him in face-to-face debate. You could hear the groans of dismay from the Better Together campaign echoing around Westminster. The last thing they think will help their campaign is for a posh, Tory, English Prime Minister to appear to be lecturing Salmond on why he should stick with Britain. Perhaps Brown didn't get the memo. And that's it for this week. To keep up to date with all the political news from Westminster, go to ibtimes.co.uk.